mainly
Report.
they are, oh, even better.
Mhm.
There we are. Many of these projects and programs are related to ocean data. So collecting ocean data from all over the world, trying to pull that together into one place to make that useful for science, for ocean modelers, and for users of data. I stop there.
No, keep going. You're fine.
I
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah, well, you said you had a few bullet points.
I have some bullet
You
points.
have to
Yeah,
stop it
okay.
at some
There you
point.
go.
I know.
Yeah.
Good that you warned me. Tell me when I
You're
have
fine.
to.
We're doing well.
Quit it. That's also something I've been doing throughout my oceanographic career, is bringing together communities. So diverse communities who are doing things very similar to each other, but they're all doing it in silo. So I try to bring them together to make the biggest benefit of doing that. By that, increasing collaboration and getting more data available. As you know, Torsten, this is what we do. Both me, myself, and Lucy, say hi. One of our international speakers here today. We really believe that ocean observing with low tech is the next biggest thing that we're going to do. We really believe in it. That's why we're trying to coordinate different groups around the world, is to work together with low tech and citizen science initiatives. We are organizing on Friday. We're actually organizing a big low tech and citizen science event that will be sent from Cape Town in South Africa, where we are connecting groups from around the world into the global ocean observing system. So we're taking these often very local initiatives and presenting them to a global audience. And I was a couple of weeks ago, I was in England, in Southampton, at something called Ocean Business. Big techie, what do we call it? Like a conference, a big one with high tech stuff, where every one of you would fit perfectly in there. That's the place to go. It's tens of thousands of people who go there looking at these new kind of technical innovations and developments, and you all would just fit perfect into a place like that.
Great. Great to hear.
Now I'll be quiet.
Okay.
Okay.
No, but this is excellent. But thank you so much, because Patrick and SMHI, they're the ones who sponsored this event as well. So I think this is fantastic. We're not, in addition to Lucy, we have Philippa Bessa here from Portugal. So we have 2 international speakers. We also have guests from Rwanda, University of Rwanda. We have Jackie and Jennifer here. Raise your hands, who will be wandering around and asking questions. And I believe there's others coming from University of New South Wales. And we also have people online. So, one more.
Yeah, I have one more thing. We shouldn't forget about it.
Okay.
Because there's going to be a winning team today, right?
Right.
And my colleague Antonio Novellino, based in Italy, he's promised us a presentation slot during the grand finale of the ocean race that is in Genoa end of next month. So anyone who brings home that prize, you also get this is a pretty cool opportunity to present at the ocean race in Genoa.
That's right. Cool.
It's a nice one.
That's a nice one. Hey, okay.
Patrick, may I ask you, who attends that grand finale in Genoa?
This is
what is the audience for the presentation?
It's a really wide range of people, especially for this particular day. We're trying to bring in citizen scientists, innovators, the ocean race people themselves, and people from like the local municipality also, to check out the kind of stuff happening and what they can look at for, how to really change the way of observing the ocean in the future. So it's an industry. So it's a really wide range of people. So be prepared.
Can I ask, is there anyone who has heard about this World Ocean Race before? Yeah, a couple of hands.
So
It was called the Volvo race before.
It used to be the Volvo Ocean Race, and it also used to stop here in Gothenburg. Volvo is still around, but they don't stop here anymore. But this is the big one, the big finale. So it's tens of thousands of people around. And what we do is we have a session in the Italian pavilion. We had one a couple of weeks ago, well attended by locals, by whoever who wants to listen into it, but in particular, a lot of people online too. So it could be industry people. It's a really nice place to pitch what you've done. And you will be presenting in a session with others who have developed low-tech sensors too, which can give you a pretty cool idea to compare of people who are really kind of professionals in this, but also started out just like you do here.
I think they're very professional here too.
That's the thing.
Yes.
And that's what I mean. So I
Yeah.
think you'll fit just perfectly in.
And I think what we'll also do is make available all the links to your websites, because we'll be putting it on the Ocean Data Factory's homepage as well. So spreading to the community. So we'll also be spreading, making waves. So
Then
cool.
we show those websites down in Italy too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was hoping
We
for.
put on- yeah,
So that
sure.
all the hard work will then be
Yeah,
available
yeah.
for the community. So
Cool.
excellent. And of course, we have one other person who we have to thank, Petter. Yes, who is Petter? Yeah. Is it on? Yeah.
Some of you a lot here, some of you have been with us. It's been a pleasure to see how you have progressed throughout this project, coming from having not a very clear idea of what you wanted to achieve or how to achieve it, until this very day when all of you have presented fantastic work, and it's very well presented and it's visually very appealing. So from my perspective, from my colleagues' perspective, and from the Chalmers Tracks initiative, the part of Chalmers that's funding and taking care of this whole yellow making environment, the space used for exploring and learning through making of both physical and virtual objects. It's been a perfect fit to have the course here. I've been receiving a lot of very valuable feedback from you, from the students who are using this still fairly new environment and all the facilities, all the equipment and machines. So a big thank you to all of you, and I'm looking forward to seeing the presentations.
Yeah. Thank you to Petter. Confused. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. He's going to go get the food. Just in case anybody was curious, there will be a lunch served here, light refreshments. We have sandwiches and later coffee. So, and also we need to thank the Revere lab, because they have also been extremely helpful and instrumental. I was there and saw many of the groups in action. So I think this is also part of Chalmers, is really building networks across the university and leveraging the resources that we have. So what are we going to be doing today? Well, we have a program. There's the QR code for those of you who are in the audience or online. So yes, we were just about wrapping up the introduction. I will talk just a little bit about kind of setting the scene. Why are we even doing this? And then opening up more towards, bringing people up on stage where we'll have a panel looking at the future of coastal industries. Then the highlight of the day will be the innovation pitches. So as you see, it's two different groups. For the students, as I mentioned, it's on the announcements. You'll find your order there with lunch in between. And the idea there is that the people who will be coming can wander around, ask questions, show, you will be able to show how it's collecting data live, show your websites, etc. So that's why the purpose of having this is to make everything really online and active. After that, we'll have more time for a World Cafe for the mingling and looking. Then we'll have our two international keynotes, Philippa and Lucy, talking. They're coming with their perspectives on exactly what you're doing. Because I think what's important here is this isn't just about Sweden, because what you have developed here. What happened? We're back. It's kind of glopping. Yeah, I don't know. We keep going. Anyway. The idea is that, when we've been working with this in the course, is develop something that really you can take worldwide. So your sensors that you've developed, your websites, everything that you have, this is something that you can share globally. And I see some of you have already created kits that can be downloaded, that can be sold. And that was also part of the purpose about entrepreneurship as well, enabling others to see your ideas and actually participate. So give you the opportunity to see how far do you want to take this, and even create your own small companies if one wants, because again, what you've done here is something that you can take across the world. As we know, coastlines are everywhere and we have the same issues across the world. So we'll be moving on. We'll have a couple panels there where we'll have Lucy and Philippa presenting in the panel, discussing about the future of citizen science and what does that mean with digital technologies. And we'll wrap it up with a panel with Mikael Wiberg, who is here, and also Daniel Gilblad. I don't know if any of you know him, but he was one of the co-founders of AI Sweden, and he's also the director of Chalmers AI Research Center. And the whole idea here is to really, wrap everything up. What have we been doing, and what does that mean if we think about the future of education? Well, also Philippa speaking on the panel to give a little bit of an international perspective as well. And then we'll wrap up with a mingle and World Cafe. Any questions before we get going? Everybody ready? Okay, I'll just say a few words. So thank you so much. We give Patrick and Torsten a hand. So I'll just talk a few words about this, why we are actually doing this and what we can take away from this. So right here, what you see is a fishing boat off the coast of Peniche in Portugal. And I knew very little about this a few years ago, about what's happening in coastal industries and coastal communities and the challenges that they are facing. And I think one of the reasons is that we talked about networks, and I lived in Stockholm or I live in Gothenburg, and I don't really see the smaller communities and the challenges they're facing. It is about building bridges across and out of our nice little bubbles where we're sitting in smart cities and thinking about coastal communities, what is going on there, really learning. But while we're doing that, we also have to think about what about the future? And many of you have seen this slide before, but I think there is something to this. We have no idea what the future holds. And one of the reasons for this course is very much about enabling you to think about the future. I think universities are very good about teaching us about the past and looking backward, but we also need to think about how can we look forward. And so that's really part of the whole idea of the course, is enabling students to look forward in a structured way, but be thinking about industries. And one of the ways we've been doing that is very much using this pastel tool, very simple tool, where we look at the different trends that are influencing something in the future. And so part of the objective of the course was then to get students out of the classroom and interviewing different people, but to do it in a structured fashion. So making sure that one speaks to somebody from a different background that has, say, an interest in economics, someone has an interest in technology, in sociology. This way you get different perspectives about the future. Because as we know, as we look into the future, people can bring their own perspective, their own history with them. And this is where a lot of friction can be caused, because we come in with our ideas. If we look at social media, algorithms, etc., we're seeing that there's a lot of polarization. And this is one way of really thinking strategically about your networks. And this was also a purpose of the course, is to get you out there to build networks before you need them. It's a great opportunity to actually build your networks. And I know many of you have spoken to a lot of different types of people, really building your networks. But again, why are we actually doing this? And I think it is very much about thinking about the future and where we're going. This is not so long ago, is it? Where we were living, say, on farms and in a circular economy. We had renewable energy. We were using everything until the end. And as we know, we had our first industrial revolution taking us from the countryside into the cities. So working in this type of fashion. There was a Swedish professor who defined work as the opposite of fun. That's no wonder when we were looking at this type of work. But if we think about what's happened with technologies, the whole point is to try to think, how does that change society? Because the technology can come, but it's how we adapt it and actually engage with it and implement it in society. And this is then what leads to a lot of different types of new forms of organizing, new forms of value creation, where we have multinational organizations coming along. And I think what's interesting and exciting for me, I'm from the US originally, but being in Sweden, where you see we've had some of the first firms each time. I mean, if we are organizations, think about the central bank of Sweden, it was one of the first ones. We had first multinational B2B companies with Ericsson, what is now Atlas Copco, et cetera, starting in the end of the 1800s. We had some of the first multinational B2C, IKEA, H&M. And you continue to see this. We're very technology oriented, but we're also very focused on society. And it's these two together, and that continuous being an engineering culture, seeing a problem, wanting to solve it, thinking, how can I do something better? How can I make the world a better place? And I think that's what I very much enjoy about Sweden. That's one of the reasons why I'm at Chalmers. But if we take this again, talking about technology, we see though that where are we going, right? Again, thinking about into the future, what will society look like as we see, especially today with all the discussion around generative AI and jobs and so on. I keep hearing of friends of mine in California, in Silicon Valley, who are losing their jobs. I have a good friend of mine, Chris, who you met. Yes. Many people out there I hear from who are talking about what's going on in Silicon Valley, where a lot of tech jobs are disappearing and people are being laid off. So what will the future look like? And I think this is, COVID accelerated a lot of this remote work, where you're seeing a lot of friction and some organizations trying to say, you have to come back to the office. You have to be in the office so many days. But I wonder, is that the best way to think about value creation and how we organize society? I don't know. I think this is where there's so many different ideas around what society might look like. And while we have many different technologies, you could think of a future that looks like this, where we have small self-sustaining villages, where all our digital technologies have enabled us to actually work remotely, to have telehealth, to educate ourselves, to learn, to 3D print food, to recycle things, and so on. This is a very rosy picture. But when I look at this, I also think, what happened to the automobile industry? Where is this in this type of village where you can walk if you have everything within 15 minutes? Well, there's a lot of discussion now in Sweden about vertiports with all the new drone technology coming along. So who knows? What will the future look like? Might it look like this? Especially as all of you are working a lot with the ocean. Might we be living in the ocean in some of these communities? Maybe. But in this course, one of the things we've really focused on is thinking about the future again in a structured fashion. We think about the future, you learn about forecasts, you take numbers, right? Statistics, and you project into the future. Or you have a vision where this is the way I want the future to be. And you have general or management and leaders of companies saying, this is how I want our organization to be. We're going to be number one. But then when you look at the statistics and you see how the number of firms that are falling off, say, Fortune 500 lists, ones that have been the tops in their industry, disappearing. So the whole idea is for leaders and leading in a digital world is also to think about what are different scenarios. And again, this is what we've been doing in this course, is very much thinking about scenario thinking, using this scenario matrix where you can create different scenarios about the future. Again, a structured way of doing it. And it's so important because we like to see a positive future. But as we know, we have a lot of challenges, and that's why we actually have this course. That's why we're collecting ocean data, right? Because there are a lot of challenges. I don't know what's going on with this mic. Maybe I should change to the other one. I just take the hand one. Or I can take this one. I can take this fine. I'll turn this one off. Thanks. Yeah. Okay. I think we're ready to go again. I'll just hold it. But anyway, I think one of the issues is that if we think about the challenges coming forward and the negative scenarios, one of the biggest challenges I think we have is the way we create value, this linear economy, this take, make, waste, throw away economy that we've developed. This is clothes in Ghana, which are what we have created that are not being used. And so we need to rethink the way we are actually creating value. And I think this is what we're seeing here is a lot of challenges coming up as well. Because what are these algorithms being trained on? It's being trained on what we've been doing, right? So the question is that just going to propel us into the future doing what we've already been doing? Maybe a little bit better, maybe a little bit faster, but are we really changing the way we're creating value? And the challenge here, especially when we're talking about the ocean, is what might happen if we continue on a linear economy way and we continue with these efforts in deep sea mining, where we have no idea what might happen when we start releasing microorganisms that have been in the bottom of the ocean for a long time, or we don't know. But this has to do with resources. We need resources to actually propel economies, etc. But if we continue on this way of the linear economy, we might end up in scenarios that look like this. So remember, the idea is to think about what are different potential scenarios, not just the rosy ones, but also the negative ones. And so when we look at this, the picture on the left is a project where they're trying to create a city on top of a great global garbage patch. Want to live there? Doesn't look very enticing. Or what about where science fiction becomes science fact, where you see some images there from Blade Runner and surrogates. This is already, you're beginning to see signals from the periphery or little signals of this happening out there in the world. We're seeing that already today, which indicates that perhaps we are going in a direction that's this way as well. So my question to all of you and those online is, who creates the future? I didn't hear anything. Who creates the future? Yeah, well, let's say it out loud. Who creates the future? Yeah, come on, students, who does it? Who creates the future? Yeah, we do. Yeah, we all create the future. Yeah, come on. But you are already creating the future, right? You're right here. Here you are showing what you've done. You are creating the future, being out there leading in a digital world. You've already started your journey. And I think what's important here is thinking, how can we do things differently, or to take a step back and think, refresh. You know, are there new ways of thinking about creating value, new types of collaboration, new forms of organization? This is where you all come in. You are the ones creating the future. So I think there's so, when we're talking about coastal industries, there's so much potential. I mean, I'll just briefly, I just talk about a project that I'm working on in Portugal, where if we know coastal communities, there's so much waste coming from the fishing industry. In fact, 50% of the trash in the ocean comes from the fishing industry. So that's a fantastic resource that we could actually do something with. So here we're actually working with fishermen, turning these nets of nylon into valuable resource, which is actually part of a twin transition, where we can actually use these nets and turn that into material that you can actually use in a large-scale additive manufacturing machine to make new products. And the idea is that we can do this locally. But when you look at this, you can see that you can reduce CO2 emissions by 93% by doing things locally, using these new technologies, taking what we already have and creating new products, but also thinking differently about how we produce things and where. And here's a project that we're just kicking off called Surf LSAM, it's funded by Vinova and Formas for the Production 2030. And if anybody would like to join, it's actually about creating a global network of microfactories where we take local waste, create that into new products to be sold in a local market in coastal communities. But if I think about you and what's the work that the students have been doing, it is about looking at the ocean as well and the data that are there and how there's so many opportunities for sustainable innovation. Lots of ideas out there. And this is where ODF started, or Ocean Data Factory started, what was it, 3-4 years ago. This is one of our first slides where we were looking at all the different use cases for what we could do with Ocean Data Factory and ocean data. And I think it's also about a lot of initiatives coming out of Chalmers, even the Swedish algae factory, for example, where looking at how we can, improve electric batteries and their capacity through algae from the ocean, or making UV chem products and so on. Or what about Volta Green Tech? Anybody know Frederick from KTH, who started this company, who had an idea of how can we reduce methane gas emissions in the agriculture industry from, say, cows. If you used a little supplement, 100 milligrams a day of red algae to a cow reduces their emissions by 90%. It's quite impressive. So the idea here is to inspire you that there are so many ideas out there and you're already on your journey. And you've already been looking into how one can use data, and you had a nice lecture from Frederick from Sensoid Technologies giving you some different ideas. And I think there is so much potential here. We also have Robert Mertens in the back. Robert, you want to wave your hand? From Moringo, who's also looking at how one can create opportunities with ocean data and how we can also improve the state of the ocean. So I'm going to round off here. I think this is really what it all comes down to. That the point of having this course and the point of all the hard work that you've been going through is to enable you to see these opportunities that go unnoticed, because this is where the future comes from, the positive future, creating good, positive scenarios for the future. And so that's why we've had this course. So just briefly before I turn over to the panel, it all started with trying to think about different coastal industries. And we sat there and thought, well, which industries should we be looking at? Well, we decided to go for those that don't receive a lot of attention, like offshore energy, for example, or healthcare. We decided to go for coastal industries where people don't necessarily pay that much attention. So offshore tourism, leisure sports, water sports equipment, etc., to give an idea of different industries that also need to digitalize. Did you know that Sweden, we are actually under the average, the OECD average when it comes to digitalization? I find that surprising. We think that we are very high in terms of digitalization, but actually we're not. We are quite far down when it comes to AI as well. So this is something here where Chalmers also needs to really, we've got so much potential. So I think it's also about facilitating these other industries Aquaculture. I got a statement from one student. I won't say the name, but they were like, wow, I didn't even know much about aquaculture. I was very skeptical. And now, wow, it's such a cool industry. So I think that was part of the idea too, is to open up new job opportunities, things that you hadn't been thinking about before. And so as mentioned, the students have been out doing lots of different interviews, right? All over the place, interviewing, and coming up with these amazing sensors that you see here. I went out and checked everybody's website this morning and took a quick screenshot of the different sensors that are on all the tables around here. Amazing to see what's been done. When did we start Torsten, when did we have our first conversation? End of February? I think end of February we said, let's do this. And I was sitting in the Revere lab and here at the Fuse lab, well, in sometime in early March, and here we are. So amazing. Couldn't have been done without you. So that's what I had to say. I'm ready to move on to a panel, but thank you so much. And a big applause to the students. Okay, let's start our first panel. I'd like to welcome up to the stage Lucy, Patrick, Robert, and Torsten. No, that's the one that does work. That one works, I think, yeah. Ooh. Yeah, it goes the other way like this. Or you can just hold it off. So you can hold it. Okay, maybe I can just hold it. That's yeah. Try a little making. Yeah, actually, I don't want the one that's going to talk so much. Yeah, you could have them on. Okay. That could be, so maybe we could use this. Yeah. Okay. Laughing and I figured it was better.
I don't know what it was, but I spread them out. So.
Yeah. All right, well, we get set up here. Fantastic. So I'm going to start off with having each of the panelists introduce themselves, a couple words about themselves and why they're standing on this stage today. So, well, Torsten, you just can start. We can start with Torsten and Patrick, and then we'll come over to Lucy and Robert, who can say a bit more. So Torsten, you can just refresh our memory there.
Hello, everyone. I'm Torsten Linders from the University of Gothenburg. I used to be a researcher teacher in physical oceanography, but I left that and now I do this more something I enjoy a lot, trying to connect academia, marine science to the industry and to public sector. And that gives me the opportunity to meet all you guys and these wonderful people.
Okay,
Good
Patrick.
one, Torsten. So Patrick Orange, SMHI. Hello again. You know why I'm here. I'm keen on getting and seeing data produced from each and every table around here, so we can make that visible to the rest of the world.
Yes. Lucy.
I am Lucie Cocampo. I come from France. I work at IFREMER, the French research institution on marine sciences. My job there is to coordinate the ocean observing system. Basically, that is to say, to connect people with an interest on the ocean at local, national, European, and international level. And as Patrick mentioned a few minutes ago, we have a common initiative on local sensors.
Great. Thank you. Okay, Robert.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Robert. I'm running a startup called Moringo, and because I'm a programmer and I love boats. I live on my boat, and thought I could do something useful for the ocean and also for me as a recreational boater. So that's what I do.
Thank you. Okay, so I don't know if any of you have any questions, but you can start thinking if you have a question for the panel, because I'll open up for a few different questions there. Okay, so let's start. So Robert, you're an entrepreneur up here on the stage. Could you tell us a little bit about your journey and how you, what encouraged you to get started in coastal industries?
I recommend everyone to start your own company. It's really fun. It's hard work, but it's really fun. I started out working as a programmer in different companies, and I was doing chores, do this, do that, and nothing really that I was thinking does anything good for the world. It was more or less making sure people get unemployed, just automating things. So I thought, well, I could stop doing this and maybe cut down on it a little bit and start developing my own company and do that like twice a week, Monday and Friday. Yeah, I just thought, let's do it. And I've been doing that ever since. I started in 2016. It's like a one-man show, but I have like gathered help from different other sources. Like I have a board, which is helping me make good decisions, so I don't make them myself. And also I have investors, of course, on board. And then I use offshore developing in Ukraine. So we're working with Ukraine now, and also with people in Italy. So yeah, and that works fine. I think it's really fun. You should try it.
It takes some courage to do that,
Yeah.
but you took that step and it
Yeah.
worked out.
I mean, yes, Sweden, it must be the best, one of the best countries to do that, because you get so much support from different organizations that really want you to develop a new company, because that can give work opportunities to so many people. So, I mean, in other countries, it's like impossible, because you really need to work to get food. But here you don't have to do that much work to get food. So you can take that chance and do it. And I just do it. Yes.
Go ahead. Yes, Patrick.
I got another question. You live on your boat, right?
Yeah.
Do you have some cool sensors on it?
Good question.
Yeah.
Good question.
Because if you don't, we got to get it there.
All right. Give
Ah,
it to
good
me.
question. Great. Good, thank you. Torsten, I'd like to, yes, I'm just thinking about your role in Ocean Data Factory, because you come in contact with a lot of different companies that are working within coastal industries. I just you could just say a couple words about the different organizations and how you see them working with data and the importance of that.
One of the beautiful things with Ocean Data Factory is that we have been able to connect sort of two main sectors. The one that sort of come from the ocean side, typically they can be marine scientists working in different types of marine consultancies, and then the people and the companies that come from the data side. And when these two groups meet, magic happens. And we've been seeing some really cool products coming out of that. Machine learning algorithms for identifying marine species in subsea video captured by robots or remotely operated vehicles deep in the ocean. That kind of connection brings a lot of value, and we see it a lot in Ocean Data Factory.
Great, thank you. So yeah, I think it's interesting with Ocean Data Factory, creating that network with different companies around to enable that, access to data, but then not just getting the data, but doing something with it. So I think that is really the most important thing, is seeing, well, what can we do with these data? And I think that's really fantastic. I'm thinking, Patrick, because you're working a lot with this in terms of, SMHI with the data. And so I'm wondering if you a few reflections on how you see organizations leveraging SMHI or working with you and also beyond outside of Sweden.
Well, what I can start with is just say that for SMHI, one of the key things that we do is that we look ahead. So we produce ocean forecasts, but that also goes for meteorological forecasts. But what do you need for that? Well, you need data. And in particular, there's like Torsten mentioned earlier today, there's a lack of data really in the coastal zone. So the models don't really work that well in the coastal zone. The more we can get from there, the better the models present, what's the name of it? The better the models do. And the easier it is also to make decisions based on that kind of information. So I welcome everyone who's collecting data anywhere really to get in contact with us, because we are running the so-called National Oceanographic Data Center at SMHI. So we're pulling data in the best of cases, all national marine data into one spot, so we can make the best use of that in the best possible way. That's the kind of thinking I got. But then we're connecting this. So we're connecting what we do on national level all the way to the global. So we're well connected through projects, programs, and global initiatives to ensure that Sweden is making a very strong ocean data contribution towards the global.
Yeah, I think that's very important, this connection. And that's how you met Lucy, I understand as well.
Yeah.
On the
Yeah.
global,
Yeah.
connecting, creating global.
We were running in parallel for a while, but then once we bumped into each other, we just went poof
Okay.
and came up
There's
with
a
all
potential here.
these ideas.
Yeah, no, I think it's fascinating because that's one of the reasons that we wanted to have some keynote speakers from abroad is exactly bringing in that international perspective. So Lucy, I'd like to just hear some words about what you're doing in France and your activities a little bit more. If you could go into more depth and the relationship with coastal industries would be wonderful. Thanks.
Oh, tough question, right? Well, I try to connect people observing the ocean and to develop some sustainable innovation, not only innovation, but innovation with a mutual profit for the people and the planet. And I really encourage local initiatives because we need local coastal observation from everywhere, from Europe and also from the global south. Africa, we need observation there. We're lacking observation, but we just have one ocean. So we need everybody to be involved. And I'm just looking at initiative that connects people and that brings, all this knowledge together. And I'm really keen on those innovation for industry. But when I think about industry, I think about ethical considerations, circular economy, local production. And those are great challenges that we can, tackle with those technologies.
Can you give some examples of some of the initiative, be a little bit more concrete of some of the innovations, one or two? That would be nice.
May take some time though.
That's okay. Just which one is your favorite?
I really like this one in Côte d'Ivoire in Africa. We're very close to Ghana. When we needed to monitor the fishing capacity. So basically we needed someone to count the fishes that someone could fish on one day. And we all was brainstorming, we were having those ideas. And someone said, maybe we could put some QR codes and, some very techy stuff to the fishermen, to the ladies who are fishing, because it was the ladies by that time. So it would be like a tag and you could have the information. That would have been a good project. But then we thought better. We thought about the social issue about fishing for this little town. And we decided that instead of having those techie devices in order to monitor the fishing stocks, we would foster communication with the schools. And so the ladies who would go fishing would, report to their kids at school, and the kids would do the plots and the charts in order to see the fishing stocks and development. And I thought that was a really interesting social innovation. Instead of go all for the techie solutions, then we think about having this local environment, those connections, and that would help. That would be sustainable because the kids will be proud of the women in town, and they would eventually stay there and promote this local activity.
I think that's extremely interesting, the social innovation, because innovation isn't all about the technology. It's really about the use case, right? What is the use case? What is the need? How can we solve it? And I think we do tend to run in with the technology. But what you're saying here is that it's data. Yes, it's still data being collected, but thinking about a different way of collecting and actually using it. And how do we build community through that as well? So there's a fantastic example. So thank you for sharing. That's wonderful. But I think that we were, in this course, we focused a lot on FAIR, right? These different principles that we need to think about. And, this is one issue because the more, we're going into society that is becoming, say, very regulated and there's a lot of, monitoring and we're using algorithms and so on. There's a lot going on. And so there's a lot of, you're seeing kind of pushback as well from, say, policymakers, from governments, from individuals. And I think this is an interesting aspect, the ethical considerations of the data, as you were, talking about, and how do we ensure FAIR? And I think that's what, you're working a lot with it, Robert, the aspects of, there's a lot of data. I was just wondering in terms of how you handle different ethical considerations or data or GDPR. And so if you could just say a few words about that.
Yeah, I was actually hoping we could have more regulations in some parts.
Yeah.
We have a lot of regulations. Of course, in Sweden, it's like famous for regulations, but on other parts in Sweden, we don't have regulations where I would expect it to be. Like,
Can you give an example?
yeah, I would say, why are we, for instance, why is there not mandatory to have a floating device on you when you are out with your boat? You have to have a seat belt while driving. But for instance, you can speed as fast as you want with your speedboat in the archipelago, close to wildlife and so on, and you don't even need a license. You can be 50 years old and have 1,000 horsepower speedboat, and that's fully legal. But and then on the other hand, then we have a lot of other regulations which are of course with the GDPR and so on, and yeah, we have to of course take that into consideration in everything we do. Working with the cultures that we do with Ukraine and Italy and so on, it's pretty much the same, I would say, still in Europe. So not too hard. We're also working in New Zealand now, and everything gets together. I think the whole globe is like pretty much the same coming into that, in at least in the markets that we are in. And I am like in these, yeah, you know, the markets, the developed countries where there's not that many countries that do recreational boating. I would exclude all Africa, for instance, or South America. It's just a few countries that do, and there the regulations for us is pretty much the same.
Great, thanks. Yeah. Final comment, then just before you say,
No.
anybody, is there a question from anyone in the audience? Anyone up there, or any questions for the panel? No? Okay, all right.
You can ask us
Yes,
later.
Patrick, yeah.
That's it. No,
Last comment, because then we're gonna have our next thing with the pitches.
You said New Zealand, so I just have to
Yes.
say this one because it's also a connection to industry. So it's the New Zealand government, they had to do something when it got to their ocean observations because there were so few. So the ocean models were really working pretty bad. So they decided on to buy or to equip 200 fishing boats with sensors, which they have done now. And by that, increase the number of observations with about 10, 20 times. So it now is actually the most observed ocean observed country in the world by doing that with small little tools. Pretty easy. You just put them on the fishing nets of already existing platforms, and it's creating all this massive data. So that's a pretty nice example of
Very
making
nice
use of
example,
something
yeah.
that's already there.
Yeah, and I think
I would say something about that as well. I mean, one of the difference I've seen between New Zealand, Australia, and Europe is that we are more open with our data. It's easier to your data from SMHI is super great, and it's also good from Denmark, Norway, and other countries in Europe.
Yeah.
But once you go outside Europe, you have to
more
pay for
expensive.
the data, and it might not be as good.
I'll never pay for the data. I'll get it for you for free.
Oh,
Just
good.
give me a while.
okay. You hear that? If you want the data, go to Patrick. Okay. All right, let's give a big hand for the crowd here. Thank you so much. Super. Okay, thank you. So now we're going to move on to the best part of the day, right? Which is the student pitches. So you have the order. I don't have them in front of me. So which is the first group? I think it's Octospy. Yes, come on up. We'll give the first group a big hand. Woo! So much. Great. Thanks. You want to use this, or you can have it here? Yeah. It's probably easier if you pass this from person to person. Here's this. You can pass that from person to person. When you do it, hold it against your chin. Not out here, but hold the thing against your chin.
From rising sea temperatures to devastating natural disasters, our planet's balance is under threat. As ocean temperatures are rising, it's not only the coral reefs that suffer, but entire ecosystems are collapsing. Time is running out, but it's not too late. You can make a difference.
Introducing OctoSpy, our octopus-shaped sensor equipped with a GPS that measures temperature in the ocean, and it's turning ordinary families and school children into citizen scientists. Say goodbye to boring data collection, because with our innovative game, exploring the ocean becomes an exciting and educational adventure for everyone.
The OctoSpy sensor can be taken on all kinds of ocean adventures and is simple to use. Just place the octopus on the ocean surface and turn the power button on. Data will then automatically be collected and transferred to our website in real time, enabling researchers to take part of our live data. The game connected to the sensor can be played everywhere. By collecting the data, you will earn points, which can be used in the game. The more data you collect, the more points you will earn. Gamification is used to increase children's knowledge about the ocean and the environmental problems we face.
But why is collecting data about temperature so important? Well, it's crucial for understanding the effects of climate change on marine ecosystems and species. In addition to this, it helps in predicting and preparing for extreme weather events like hurricanes and storms.
As you understand, temperature data is extremely necessary for our future existence on the planet. The number of individuals and groups interested in this data is therefore substantial. We have been in discussion with both Lysekil municipality and a marine biologist who are interested in accessing our data.
OctoSpy is designed to be used in schools, and by integrating the sensor into their curriculum, schools can provide a learning environment that sparks curiosity and nurtures a deep understanding of both technical principles and biological concepts. When purchasing our start kit, clear step-by-step instructions tailored for children are included, enabling them to actively participate in the building of the sensor.
In collaboration with our partner Havets Hus in Lysekil, OctoSpy will be introduced and built by children at the upcoming event Västerhavsveckan. This marks the beginning of OctoSpy's market journey.
So what can you do to help? It's simple, become an OctoSpy. OctoSpy is built to support the UN's global goals. The sensor is reusable, allowing schools to disassemble and assemble it, enabling more children to benefit from OctoSpy without depleting the Earth's resources. By using OctoSpy, you will be helping scientists collect the data they need to better understand our oceans and work towards a brighter, more sustainable future. Remember, time is running out, but it's not too late. You can make a difference. We are OctoSpies. Become one, you too.
Yes, so you can, children, like it's suitable for families, for example, and you can take it, and it's floating, yeah, so you can take it swimming when you're out with the boat. Yeah.
You can take it everywhere in the ocean.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Yes, we have actually measured that, and it's like 2.5 hours, and then you have to charge it. But we have our power button, so it doesn't measure all the time. So the battery life, yeah.
Yep, great. And it's good to get ready to maybe come up here so that we can have a quick translate time. Want me to take this away? Yeah. No, I'm just checking. Oh, fine, I'm sorry. No, they looked. Sorry.
Today, there is a significant threat to our marine ecosystem, and you, as a citizen scientist, can make a change by collecting data. Building the sensor Sally is quick and easy and can be done in less time than it takes for us to finish this pitch. Let me prove it.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Anti-fouling products are a big part of the environmental problems connected to marine surroundings. These products are commonly used to prevent organisms from attaching to the hull. But however, the paint contains heavy metals and biocides that are dangerous for the oceans. The level of salinity plays a role in determining the amount of toxins that are released from the anti-fouling paint. Let's explore this connection further.
In Erik Ytterberg's study on the correlation between salinity and anti-fouling paint, an interesting finding emerged. Higher salinity water not only results in a leakage of copper at a faster rate, but also experiences greater biofouling issues. This leads to the use of highly toxic anti-fouling paint to minimize the need for frequent repainting of the boat. However, this paint is also applied in waters with lower salinity, where biofouling problems are not as significant.
This raises concerns as unnecessary toxic paint is used in waters that do not require it, resulting in an excess release of harmful substances such as copper. By measuring salinity in different areas, anti-fouling products with less toxic substances can be developed. In fact, by changing the current anti-fouling products, an 80% reduction of copper emissions can be made. But why do we need to measure salinity at different marinas? Isn't one enough?
Well, the salinity levels in Sweden actually fluctuate quite a lot. And together with the help of our sensor, we can enhance our knowledge of salinity levels around coastal areas and aid researchers into developing new, more environmentally friendly and effective innovations. But now you might wonder, how will this work?
To measure salinity, Sally collects conductivity data. As salinity increases, so does conductivity, making conductivity a suitable measurement for the salinity. With its low cost for about $200, Sally is a must-have for any boatyard operator who wants to ensure the health and safety of our oceans. Sally contains a Raspberry Pi, a conductivity sensor, and signal transmission materials. It is easy to use, easy to build, and you will have access to an already built-in Python library adapted for the specific function of Sally. Just plug it in, press play, and Sally collects the salinity data.
By collecting salinity data, boatyards can contribute to citizen science and demonstrate their commitment to sustainability. This will enable researchers to get a better understanding of the ocean so they can develop more efficient and environmentally friendly anti-fouling paint, providing a safer work environment without toxins.
And there you have it. By dedicating this small time investment, you have the golden opportunity to contribute to the research of our oceans and save them from further damage. So what's your excuse? Use Sally for salinity collection and oceans protection.
How we do the calibration. So when we bought the probe, there was already a program for doing the calibration. So we have used that program.
Nej, jag står i datorn. Jaha, men då står vi här borta. Då är jag sist. Ja, men det är ganska som står. Ja, det är väl bättre att du ska. Va? Sen är det andra. Du kan väl få.
You share your screen.
Stop.
There we go.
There.
There, you got it. All right. Okay.
Okay, yeah. You might wonder, why are we standing here with a water bottle? It actually isn't just a water bottle. Inside is a sensor that holds the power to both support aquatic farms in their daily operations and researchers' challenge to close the data gap. Anybody can build this low-cost sensor, and we see the opportunity to every aquatic farm using one of these.
Our project concerns the aquaculture industry with focus on seaweed. Seaweed has many uses, with food being just one of them. It can also be used in chemicals, medicine, and fuel. According to our research, there's a number of needs that exist in the industry today. Pollution of the oceans are a threat for aquatic farms. There's a lack of offshore data, and the technology right now is way too expensive for smaller businesses.
And this is where our project comes in to offer solutions to these problems. Make ocean sense. It might be a silly name, but in the end, it's all about making sense of the ocean. We want our sensor to be accessible for everyone. And right now, we offer an easy-to-build sensor for under 150 euros, with the future potential of actually cutting this price by half. We have used a protein shake just to show you that you can fit all electronics inside in whatever you find at home. Just make sure it's watertight. And our sensor collects temperature and turbidity. And this data can later be used by farmers to save their farms from, for example, oil spills or other pollution.
We're focusing on two stakeholder groups. The sensor is going to be directed towards farmers and smaller businesses. They can build the sensor themselves, and then they can connect it to voice of their farms where they can deploy it. The data is going to be saved on the memory card, or it can be transmitted to a computer. The data can be used by the farmers for their own needs, and it can be uploaded later on to our website.
And the second stakeholder group will consist of marine biologists and researchers at universities. And they can use this data to further their research about the industry to make it more sustainable and effective. And our website would also function as a forum where the researchers can publish their conclusions, and therefore creating a positive feedback loop where value is created for both.
Amidst the growing global populations, industries find themselves under rising pressure, while our precious oceans are suffering from the devastating effects of pollution. Together, let's take this opportunity to pioneer a new era, an era where innovative achievements are harnessed to protect and restore the planet. By embracing this vision, we can collectively pave the path towards a more sustainable and a wholesome planet, creating an impactful and profound legacy for generations to come. In other words, something that makes ocean sense. Thank you.
Which question? Oh, no, Lucy, yeah, go ahead. Yeah. How do you do the data quality assessment?
Yeah.
So repeat the question.
Can you say it once again?
Data quality assessment. How do you know that data is good?
So we have collected the data first, like in a lab. We have used pure water from the tap that we know is 100% clear, and also used like water with really high turbidity. And from that, we have did some programming and make sure that it collects the right values.
And I believe you have where you can test it in the water back there too, right? Yeah.
Han vill inte eller? Nej.
BAIT is our affordable DIY integrated sensor system that measures light and temperature, catering to recreational fishers by providing them valuable insight into the fishing waters and engaging them in citizen science by closing the coastal data gap. Our mission is to enable recreational fishers to create societal value while practicing their hobby. By using our product, the end user will acquire information on how fish react to the current conditions, allowing for a prediction of how promising the fishing luck in the area is. Parallel to this, the raw data is shared with scientists, giving them more to work with for a brighter future.
So what's the problem? Our coasts have a significant lack of data. We want to change that. Without data, researchers and decision makers are blindly making decisions that entail large future implications. Industry analysis has shown that the fish stock is essentially exhausted. Data collection can enable decision makers to make the right decisions. So what's the solution? We want to get the scientists the data that they need. Through citizen science, we can enable massive data collection at a fraction of the cost.
So our product, along the left column are the core components of our product. They are all readily available from many distributors, and through the instructions on our website, one can easily assemble a bait using them. To the right, there's an illustration of just how it might look when bait is in action, and a picture of the finished product, which is also available here. A very compelling package for a price of under 1,000 crowns.
So how do we go about collecting all this data? Using baits, marine citizen scientists collect data while they're out fishing with their boats along our coast. The data is then uploaded to us using digital cloud technologies and then sent to a database accessed by needs owners, such as, for example, a municipality, regional and national government bodies, as well as researchers in general. They then aggregate and analyze this data from all marine citizen scientists and generate key insights that are then sent back to us, and which we redistribute to all marine citizen scientists such that they can benefit from the data themselves.
So why have we chosen recreational fishing? In Sweden, recreational fishing is larger than in almost all of the world. 15% of Swedes recreationally fish every year. And in 2019, there were 12.7 million recreational fishing days. And 20% of those days were conducted by a boat at our coasts. We see massive opportunities for data capture while they're practicing their hobby. What about recreational fishers then? They have a tech literacy. They are already interested in new technologies and sensors and engage in data capture themselves. And they're also ocean literate. They have a knowledge of all the current ocean challenges, especially the ones with overfishing. You can make a difference. Thank you for listening. And this has been our team. Have a look at our website if you're interested in learning more. Thank you.
When I found a nice fishing spot, I don't want to share it with anybody. So how do you convince fishermen to share information with the others?
Well, the thing is here is the data is. So why would we expect fishermen to want to share their secret best fishing spots? Well, the thing is here, since we aggregate all the data, we will not have exactly all these fishing spots, but a lot of dots all over the place. And the key insights will be sort of aggregated data that we then redistribute. So we won't give exact data back to users from other users.
Getting in the way.
Hello, we are Oceanscope, and and this is our story. We're a group of friends who loves to spend our summers out on the ocean. But whenever we ventured out, we faced a common problem. We could never accurately determine the water temperature at different places and know where the best place to anchor down and hang out was. It was during one of these outings we came up with an idea. We wanted to create a platform for people like us, where live temperature data could be shared and utilized by different areas of interest.
Now, we'd like to introduce you to Oceanscope, a project that aims to fill the temperature data gap in our understanding of the ocean. Our sensor uses a Raspberry Pi as its main foundation. To this Raspberry Pi, we have connected a breadboard, to which we have connected a GPS and therm sensor to provide real-time data that we can upload directly to our website using a Google heat map. This will be visible to everyone, making it easy to access feasible and nice water temperatures.
While our technology may not be cutting edge, it is nevertheless powerful. By collecting temperature data at different locations, we can get a better understanding of our oceans. This data has numerous applications, from monitoring the effects of climate change on marine life to weather patterns and ocean currents. Yet the beauty of Oceanscope lies in its simplicity. Anyone with a basic understanding of technology can assemble the device and deploy it on their watercraft, making it available for a range of users. With its temperature sensor and GPS, it provides accurate and continuous data that has numerous applications in science, industry, and recreation.
Our idea is that the data to be used by GPS providing sea applications such as Interoperable. They will in turn use the data for projecting a heat temperature map in the app. The heat map can be used by fishermen as well as summer tourists searching the ideal water temperature for bathing. This feature, along with other usable GPS tools, will likely be accessible via a paid subscription. However, the citizen scientists contributing with data will get free access. So this is a win-win situation that will hopefully encourage others to do the same that collect data. The data collected will also be available to researchers and other scientists via request on our website.
At Oceanscope, we believe that our mission to understand the ocean is far from over. In fact, we're just getting started. Our future involves building a platform that collects temperature data and shares it with everyone with a subscription.
To achieve our goal, we plan to engage ordinary citizens, but also tourism organizations such as island tours and ferries and companies who rent out leisure activities. We want to connect with these people to be able to deploy our sensor all along the coast and collect temperature data from everywhere.
By building this platform, we hope to foster greater collaboration between scientists and communities, and ultimately increase our understanding of the ocean's temperature and its impact on marine life. We believe that Oceanscope has the potential to make a significant contribution to the scientific community and to society as a whole. Thank you, and join us making waves.
See you.
So you get the data via paid subscription.
If you, okay, so I didn't really understand. Can you repeat it? Yeah, so if you share the data to like Interoperable, you will get the paid subscription for other GPS providers. They have like, you can get the speed of your boat and vice versa, yeah. So in turn for them to use your data to project a heat map. Yeah, exactly. Another question? Yeah. It's along the surface. So it's a pretty long cable, so you can choose yourself, but I get it's at surface level for now. Yeah, that's yeah. We will think about that.
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. We are Group 20, and we are excited to present Project Green Coast. The climate crisis stands as one of humanity's most pressing challenges, and we are in great need of sustainable solutions. Algae cultivation has emerged as a promising answer, with potential benefits in a wide range of areas, such as renewable energy, carbon capture, and our primary goal, the food industry. The global market for algae is expected to experience significant growth in the next few years, potentially driven by the amplifying environmental consciousness of society, as well as its growing fascination with algae.
Yes, so citizen scientists can help transform the algae industry. At the moment, there are large data gaps that need to be filled, and companies cannot do this on their own. By collecting data, optimal locations for algae growth can be determined. And in the process, citizen scientists will gain ocean literacy, as well as contributing to a brighter future. Anyone can be a citizen scientist, but we believe that environmentalists and other individuals with a certain interest in algae are the ones most likely to be engaged in our work. Our primary data users will be algae farmers, who, as said before, will benefit remarkably from the data collection. But we also believe that marine biologists can gain some insights into the ocean with our data.
To help the citizen scientists collect data, we have developed a user-friendly and affordable sensor. It costs no more than 1,500 crowns, including the Raspberry Pi, junction box, flotation device, and power bank. The sensor will gather information on salinity and temperature, which are the key factors in determining the viability and productivity of the algae farms. It is designed for easy placement and continuous data collection.
While setting up the temperature sensor was a straightforward task, developing the salinity sensor demanded considerable effort and dedication. In our pursuit for precise salinity measurements, we have engineered the sensor from scratch. By submerging 2 electrodes in seawater, we capture resistant data that holds the key to determine salinity levels. Acknowledging the impact of temperature, we incorporated temperature measurements into our calculations. Through experimentations at various known salinity levels, we have derived an equation that enables us to calculate salinity in unknown conditions.
The data collected by citizen scientists will be uploaded to our website, which will act as a hub for datasets. From this site, stakeholders can take part of the data, use it to fill data gaps, and make informed decisions for algae farming. In addition to serving as a hub for the data, the website also provides tutorials on how to build a sensor, as well as insights into the algae farming industry, collected from interviews and external sources.
In conclusion, Project Green Coast harnesses the power of citizen scientists to address the challenges facing algae cultivation. By leveraging their passion for algae and environmental conservation, together with our sensor technology, we can pave the way for a more sustainable future. Thank you for your attention.
Yeah, I can repeat the question. How do we convert this data so it's useful for our stakeholders? Well, yeah, the data will be uploaded to our website, like we said. And for example, marine biologists are in great need of salinity and temperature data, which we will just, have them get to our website to see it.
When the sensor is used, the data is stored in a CSV file automatically with our script. And then since we have no need of live data, because it's the max and min positions that is most important, the citizen scientists can fill out a form that they would like to submit the data and where they have measured and what they have measured. And it will be stored on the website for all scientists and stakeholders to use.
I can just add there as well that our sensor, it's supposed to last for at least 2 days. So it can be, our power bank the power should be on for 2 days. So it will measure on at a long time or during a long time, which is especially important when we had our interviews. So that the researchers are in great need of continuous data throughout a long period of time. So yeah.
Thank you.
Hi. Does anyone know the temperature right outside the coast of Gothenburg? Let's say at Lindholmen or Kullavik. Robin, dare to take a guess? No, but either way, even if you had a guess, we wouldn't be able to tell if she was right or wrong because there is no data, at least not in the high resolution continuous flow that organizations like SMHI need. And that is why we are here today. We are Ocean Sentinel, and we aspire to engage Swedish mariners in capturing these continuous data flows from sea temperature around the coast of Sweden.
Introducing our game-changing innovation that is set to revolutionize the way we monitor our oceans. Our sensor is the epitome of functionality, affordability, and simplicity. The main idea is for mariners to follow our instructions and assemble their own sensor, allowing boat owners to borrow the sensor and then use it when they're going out on the water, collecting data passively.
Our sensor consists of a Raspberry Pi, a temperature sensor, a GPS module, and a breadboard. Operating it is straightforward. If you turn the sensor on and there's no network connection, the sensor will automatically store temperature and GPS simultaneously into a CSV file. If you instead turn it on while connected to the Marina Wi-Fi, the data file will be sent to us by email, and we will then upload it to our website.
Yes, so what makes our sensors stand out? To ensure data integrity, we have implemented a robust system. We meticulously check the data to ensure its accuracy, giving you reliable information for informed decision making. Secondly, our sensor is incredibly easy to use. With a user-friendly interface and clear instructions, even those with minimal technical knowledge can install and operate it effortlessly. And lastly, once the sensor is built, all collected data will automatically be uploaded to our website.
Our sensor Sentinel-1 is a catalyst for change, and it requires almost nothing from you. The components cost us 1,345 Swedish crowns, but it could be less if you use things you have at home, like tape or an old plastic container. And our user manual takes under 2 hours to complete and consists of a map of all wiring and all code needed.
And this process has already been tested with our partner, Chalmers. They have come to the conclusion that working together with these issues can help them market themselves as a green marina. And collaborating with science has proven to be a rewarding experience for anyone involved, beyond any commercial benefits there may be. And as of right now, Chalmers are leading our data collection competition. But even though they're our partner, we would like to invite you all marinas here to please come and beat them. And we would like to end this presentation with a great feeling of being at the sea and enjoying citizen science. So please lean back and enjoy.
I can ask one, the marina that you work with, what was their main concern and how did you get them encouraged to join in your project? Maybe how we can get other get people.
Well, I'd say, okay, the question was, how do we, what is the biggest concern of the marinas that want to work with citizen science in this way? Well, I'd say that the technical aspect is the main concern for them, because they think that they might need a bit of knowledge to create a sensor of their own. So our purpose in like having the website and clear instructions is to prove to them that they can actually go ahead and do it themselves, which I think, and they also believe when they've done it, it's more rewarding doing it yourself instead of having someone else doing it for you.
This one and then one more and then we have lunch.
Men det funkar inte.
Our oceans are dying, and we have a critical mission at hand to safeguard our coastal areas from the devastating effects of harmful algal blooms. Harmful algal blooms are on the rise, producing toxins and creating harmful conditions for our marine ecosystems. And their effects range from economic losses to ecological imbalances. Unfortunately, the conditions for their formation is still poorly understood, and more data is needed. That's why we're introducing the ACT sensor, the automatic chlorophyll A and temperature sensor, designed to measure the amount of chlorophyll A and the temperature in our coastal areas in real time, enabling early detection of harmful algal blooms and making it possible for preventative work, as well as providing important data for further research.
Yeah, our sensor is a low-cost floating buoy that utilizes spectroscopy to measure the amount of chlorophyll A in the water. It's also connected to a temperature sensor. And the way that it works is that we have 3 photodiodes that emit light, red, green, and blue, which bounces off the 2 mirrors down here and then into the sensor. And in between the mirrors, we have a continuous water flow, which allows for ongoing measurements to be taken for each color that enters the sensor. And the diode wavelengths are specifically chosen to match that of chlorophyll A's maximum absorption. And by measuring the collected light, the sensor can determine the levels of chlorophyll A in the water.
Yes, and the sensor also has a live connection to the cellular network, which differentiates it from similar sensors. It can be produced in large quantities, for example, as school projects, and be deployed across the coastal areas to provide real-time data for the stakeholders. The sensor also has the potential to benefit various stakeholders, including fishermen, researchers, and tourism industries. To maximize its impact, we have chosen to focus on municipalities as contact points, creating a larger network of stakeholders compared to focusing on just individual stakeholders. The bigger the network, the more valuable the data is, which might incentivize others to collaborate.
Possible citizen scientists are students in high school that could develop a basic skill such as soldering, coding, and get an understanding of the physics behind optics and electronics, all while filling in important data gaps and increasing the public knowledge of harmful algal blooms and their damaging effects.
The data collected by the ACT sensor can be useful for ensuring that beaches and swimming areas are safe for recreational activities. It is also essential for researchers and scientists to reduce the knowledge gap. Municipalities have a strong incentive to support this initiative as it can promote tourism and business operations in the short and long term. Don't miss out on this game-changing technology that has the potential to revolutionize the way we monitor and predict algal blooms. Join us in bringing this innovation to life and making our coastal areas safer for all. It is time to act.
This? It's 1,500 crowns at the max, and if you only want to send the cellular data and not save it on locally, it can go down to 1,100. Yes. Currently, they send out testing when they think that it's when they have indication of it, and they also have data from MHI of what do you call it, satellite images, but that's I think we heard that it was 2 days delay. So this sensor will be live data and get facts there earlier. Yeah.
Hold on, they will launch soon. Great. Var snabb nu, folk är hungriga. Okay, great. Okay, so currently there's a data gap regarding the marine environment, and filling this is important to understand how climate change, weather, and ecosystem are all connected to rising temperatures. And we want to raise awareness from a young age, inspiring children to make a difference in the world. The data collected will then be used by researchers, authorities, and scientists like SMHI. But Emil, how do we succeed?
So success is made together. Gather your whole family and start building TESS, a temperature sensor. TESS is a small and easy to build device that collect temperature of coastal surface waters. And we really believe that TESS is for everybody, so it can easily be attached to your boat, or it can be used as a handheld device at the beach. TESS consists only of a few components of a turtle-shaped box to secure the computer, a temperature sensor, a floating device, and a power bank. On our website, you will find detailed tutorials on how to build it.
So we want to engage children and young adults of all ages. Therefore, we created two versions of our product. One, a non-programming model called TESS Simple for $5.99. This is basically an assemble and use kit for the younger ones. We also have a model called TESS Pro. This is a more advanced programming experience, and the experience in all is more advanced.
TESS is more than a temperature gauge. The GPS function of the sensor, in accordance with GDPR, makes the collected data traceable and easy to follow, since it will be uploaded to our website. This function enables the user to follow their own and everyone else's collected data. By making an account on our website, you will be able to get fun statistics like contribution score compared to other users, temperature curves, and unlock different achievements depending on how frequently you provide new data.
Our business model ensures that TESS is part of a circular economy. If you do not want to send us your data anymore, you can take part in our recycling program. Send back your TESS and get paid. We will then refurbish TESS and use it in other build kits. By doing this, we make sure that all components of TESS are used to their full capacity and not going to waste. Furthermore, by reusing old parts, we create an opportunity to lower our costs and therefore also lowering the prices of TESS, making it even more affordable.
So again, why TESS? The temperature data gap needs to be filled. Researchers, authorities, and scientists need your help. And who is better to help than the future generation of citizen scientists? We see that the future is theirs, and with TESS, they can take control of it. Invest in our kit, become a citizen scientist, and join us in educating the future, 1 degree at a time. Thank you.
After this, we will.
It would be really fun to have, and we also think it's like both for schools, but also as like a family activity that you can do with your kids, engaging them in learning technology in a fun way, and also to contribute at the same time. And the ages, since there is 2 models, it can be for really small kids who just wants to see the turtle and use it at the boat or at the beach, being like, oh, this is really fun experience. but it can also be for a little bit older kids that really can do the programming by themselves and really see how the things come together and how to use it and to build it.
I think even you, your age, would love to build and try this out.
Okay, I think we all deserve lunch now, huh? That was amazing. I think we should give a big hand for the teams that presented so far. Okay, I believe we're supposed to be back at 1:15, which is going to be fast lunch, but I think to keep the schedule, it's fine. So here's some lunch over here and we'll reconvene at 1:15. Enjoy.